Ladies, gentlemen, hermaphrodites, lend me your ears. Welcome to another exciting, action-packed show, the Shelfside Spurs show, edition of the Shelfside Spurs show. This week, we've got myself. Hello. We've got Rez. Say hello, Rez.
Hello.
We've got Gaza. Say hello, Gaza.
Hello, Gaza.
And live from his mother's basement.
A clean basement.
Clean basement with no easel behind you. Artwork's all been shipped off to the people that supporting your artwork habit around the world.
Yeah.
Was that you panic buying all the toilet rolls, Nick?
Plenty of room.
Not just toilet roll, sugar apparently.
Plenty of room in that basement.
Yeah.
Sugar's in short supply as well.
Double Big Macs going around, so you know.
Isn't
Been
there
architects in the ceiling.
a McDonald's like vegan burger coming out soon? I'm sure
Not
there is.
interested, LJ. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. Cody's watching, so you might know. Cody, isn't there a vegan McDonald's burger coming out soon? Apparently it's quite nice. A few people have had it.
Yeah.
I had the KFC vegan burger when it first came out, and I have to say it was quite tasty.
Yeah, they've used the same
It was
spices
quite
and
tasty.
herbs, haven't they, on the outside of the batter and so it's quite nice. It is.
And Greg's vegan sausage roll is also very nice.
McPlant, that's it.
Yeah.
As Cody says, the McPlant. Yeah.
Evening, Adam. Evening.
But they won't. You can't get a meal, can you? Because KFC can't guarantee the chips haven't been
The chips
contaminated
haven't
when you
been,
cook them,
yeah.
so you have to
That's right.
buy them separately. Is everyone hungry now after that? Hello, Adam as well.
Well, I'm hungry anyway because I eat after the show, so.
I feel really bad now for keeping you.
Oh
you
no,
on.
don't be silly. That's the way I planned
I
it.
don't really.
Good.
It's just my public.
Cody, have you got data this week, mate? We were worried that you ran out
Yeah.
of this week's extended version of the show, and
Yeah, we were going to hold a charity drive to buy you some more.
Oh dear. So Spurs on this day in history. The book is back, baby. The book is back. Right, where are we? So we're on the 7th of October already. You ready, boys? Stoke, we mentioned them last week in Garth Crooks's question. Stoke head back north, feeling hard done by following a narrow 4-3 defeat at White Hart Lane. I should say this is Saturday, the 7th of October, 1972, so you can try and guess the players involved. The Potters did their best to nullify the Spurs attack, but still picked off at ease. John Pratt's brace is the platform for Spurs win, with Alan Gilzine and Ralph Coates the others to get their names on the score sheet. Boom. Have that.
Nice.
There you go. 4-3 win. The entertainers. We've always been the entertainers, haven't we? We've always been the entertainers. Speaking of the entertainers, not the toy shop down the road. Let's take that down. Let's talk about the game on Sunday, wasn't it? Return to Sunday. It wasn't on TV over in the UK, but I managed to find a stream. I think I was watching Richard Keys and Andy Gray, so that's Al Jazeera, isn't it, or some
BN Sports.
BN Sports, yeah, something like that. Which at least had some commentary this week. Last week it was just like the stream that they send around the Premier League. It was quite good to watch it actually without having to listen to the idiotic commentators.
Well, that's the thing. When it's Alan Smith and Martin Tyler, you know, you're better off without it. You know,
yeah.
Especially both of them. You know, if I never have to hear and it's live.
Oh mate, don't even get me started on that. The Liverpool and Man City game, they came back from the adverts and stayed there whilst the crowd sang "You'll Never Walk Alone." It's like, mate, every fucking crowd sings a song. You don't have to fucking stick your tongue that far up their arse, this guy.
Yeah.
And then during the game as well, I'm doing a Rez's rant here, aren't I?
You should. We should all have a rant.
The foul by Milner, how was that not a second yellow and a red card? And the penalty on Foden in the first half, they even went to VAR and you could see him clearly clipping the back of his leg into his other leg, took him out. How is that not a penalty?
It's Liverpool.
Because he didn't go down, right?
I was saying yesterday, there's a referee in our local area. I said on Eugene's channel that he actually helps out with the VAR sometimes for the bigger games. And he said the when the big teams are involved, your Man United's, Liverpool's around the world, they're actually actively encouraged to let things slide in favour of the bigger teams. He said, you got
Really?
your rumours around the world about the big teams get all the decisions. He goes, absolutely, you do. He said you're encouraged because they pay, they've got the most people watching around the world. They want Man United and Liverpool at the top, so they basically let other things slide, which other teams get punished for, i.e. Tottenham. And I was quite shocked by it. He goes, no, you think I'm joking, but I'm not. They actually give us like a brief before the game saying if it's a 50-50 call against Man United,
Let it go.
Yeah, let it go, yeah.
Yep.
He said some of the things that I could tell you. I said, I bet. Adam
It's
said you
because
can't.
there's no oversight. There's no oversight over PGMOL.
No.
They're not called on to answer for what they do. Nobody sort of
no accountability.
No accountability, exactly. So if they do something like that, who's going to be there to say them nay? Ultimately, they'll do it.
They'll just say sorry. We made an honest mistake there. But you can see why Pep was getting infuriated. I know you're not a great fan of Pep, are you, Rez? But you can see why he's getting infuriated, and I think he ended up getting spat at, didn't he, him and his bench, because they were going so mad at the Milner one.
Well, ultimately, principle is principle. Just because it's Pep being shafted doesn't mean that a shafting hasn't been happening. We might take some joy in seeing him being shafted.
Dele Alli's doing that to his daughter, isn't he?
Yeah. but the principle is still the principle still stands. You have to, refereeing, if there's nothing else, refereeing has to be held to a very high standard, and if they're not, then those things need to be questioned.
Yeah, and they were just sticking their tongue up Salah's arse as well. I didn't even think that much of the goal, to be honest. I thought it was poor defending. Was it Rodri or the other defender that showed him inside and then turned his back on him and let him pass him? I didn't think it was that good. Though someone put up a poll, it might have been Cody actually saying, who would you rather be, Salah, peak Salah or peak Hazard? And I was like, Hazard all day long. Fucking Salah's a cheating bastard. But he hasn't got the respect of other fans. I mean, Hazard, as much as we don't like him as a Chelsea player, I quite enjoyed watching him play, and he was a bit of a diving bastard, wasn't he, as well, to be fair. Actually, I scratched that. Take two.
Part of the game. No, but that's the thing, John. It's part of the game. They're taught to do that, and there actually is a solution to it. There is a way in which you can get around it, or essentially it's called nudge therapy, where nudge principle, where rather than legislate for not doing something, you encourage someone not to do it. And there is a way in which you can nudge the game towards being cleaner and being, some of the things that we don't like.
Perfect example with the Foden penalty, though, Rez, wasn't it? He tried to stand on his feet, even though he's clipped, and then went down a bit later
as well.
Yeah,
and
Foden, he don't get repaid for being honest, do you?
No, exactly. So it's the thing.
Next time, what's he going to do? He's going to go down, and he's going to anticipate the contact, go down, and everyone will call him a diving bastard. People, the likes of me, will call him a diving bastard.
Yeah, it's part of training. I mean, I saw that I can't remember what game it was. It might even have been in our game. No, because I didn't watch that on TV. I was at the stadium. I saw a game. I think it might have been Brighton Arsenal, where there was like a tap on the shoulder from one player to the other, and the player who got tapped, went down. It's like he's just touched your shoulder, mate. I mean, obviously they're running always cheating, yeah. But whoever it was didn't get the penalty, but he went down. It was just a tap on the shoulder. It wasn't even a push. It was like you saw the hand come down on the shoulder rather than hitting them.
I think that's why it's changed from last year, wasn't it? That even if there's contact, like that's the perfect example. Just because you touched it doesn't mean that's enough to make it go down and the penalty. But that penalty was stonewall, wasn't it? Unbelievable. So back to Tottenham things then, as we're a Tottenham channel. So Spurs 2, Villa 0. What did you make of the lineup first of all? 2-1. So 2-1. Shows how much I was paying attention. What did you make of the lineup first of all, Rez, when you saw the Romero back, Royale in, and then Skippy back alongside?
I was very pleased to see Oliver Skipp back in the lineup. I was very pleased that Dele wasn't. And the way that who he picked, I thought to myself, that might actually be a 4-2-3-1 rather than a 4-3-3. So obviously there's a bit more width there. I'm still not of the thinking that Emerson is an attacking fullback. I still think he's more defensive, because that's what a lot of people have said about his time at Barcelona, certainly about his time with Eibar, was it, that he was at? That he's
he had
more
the right
defensive.
balance, to be fair. He
I mean,
went
sure,
forward on occasion,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think he got the balance just right,
Yeah.
to be fair.
It was much better. There was much more cohesiveness. There was links between the different, the four banks, essentially, with a 4-2-3-1, so we've, more for Villa to get through, which was, defensively solid. We're not equipped to play a 4-3-3. We might want to play a 4-3-3, but we're not really equipped. And so reverting back to a 4-2-3-1, which is essentially what we've played for 9 or 10 years now, was a much better choice, I think. Suited the players, don't have to work quite as hard, especially in the middle of the park, to sort of link defense and attack. And I think the win itself was actually hard fought as well. And I like that, because Villa could have been a real threat, even with a better formation like that.
Beat Man United the week before, of course.
Absolutely. Dean Smith said it. They're a much more balanced unit without Grealish. They have managed to suffer that loss, but have built very well. Betis, that's right, Cody. Betis, not Eibar, that's right. They've managed to rebuild in a much more balanced fashion now, and the likes of Ings and Watkins can be lethal. So it was a very good performance, and it was also a very good setup. So I'm hoping it's not a blip. I'm hoping it's signs of things to come rather than just a blip. So we'll see against Newcastle.
So we faced a bit of criticism for not going after Villa a bit more and being on the front foot, but do you think that was just a case, we'll go to Gaza for this one, of us a bit of a hangover from the week before, like just us trying to stay a bit tighter after all those holes in front of the defence last week? I think that was just a natural hangover from that, a bit hesitant.
Yeah, kind of playing it a bit cautious. Martinez made a couple of decent saves, so potentially we could have scored 2 or 3 more goals, potentially. But yeah, I think it's a natural thing. You lose 3 in the bounce, so you're going to be a little bit hesitant. But I think generally, I was a little bit concerned before the game whether it was going to be 4-3-3. But you saw quickly it wasn't. But yeah, good performance. I thought Romero and Dyer looked pretty good together as well at the back.
We'll get onto that later, Cody. It's one of my talking points. Onto that. There was talk that they might miss the third one and be back, but the international managers themselves, now they've got the players, have been a bit more draconian, as you'd expect.
Surprise.
Nick, what did you think of the performance? Could we have been on the front foot a bit more? Or do you think it was?
Well, I think we were talking through the game, talking outside the stadium. We were hoping that Gio was going to start, and obviously when he came on for Tanguy, I thought that showed again in abundance that he should have started ahead of him. The first 20, 25 minutes we were flat. We looked nervous. We were putting balls around, not passing to, not taking the easy pass. And we looked until Højbjerg scored. It was a very weird atmosphere inside the stadium. I don't know if everyone else thought the same, but Hugo, just as I'd got to my seat, Hugo had they'd released a statement about Hugo saying they need the fans to show some fight and everything else. And I said to Rez, well, surely the players need to show some fight. And then at that point, the video came on. Hey, Brian. The video came on, and the words were there, and the game is about glory. And we were sat there, and I was like, I hope the players are watching this, because at the moment, like Rez said, the words sounded hollow. And that's what then sort of led it to being a little bit flat. And once those the few passes went awry, early doors, it was a little bit of a strange atmosphere. But then we kind of grew into it, and we kind of thought, actually, obviously the first half an hour we were in a lot better situation than we were the previous week. And I think the players were a little bit, I don't know, scared to take a shot, scared to do anything in case. And that was, obviously Corey Bear just found himself there, and everyone was like, shoot, and he did, and it went in, and he was like, oh, okay, I can play and I can do that. And that was the same sort of thing in the second half. Gio came on, he should have buried it, but he was almost in two minds of like, oh, I don't know what to do here. Do I try and blast it and score, or do I pass it to Harry Kane? And then he was kind of in between the two. The one thing that I noticed, and I don't know whether everyone else noticed, a lot of the guys didn't want to pass it to Harry Kane. And that was quite evident. He seemed to be a little bit lost. So I don't know whether there's still that hangover of kind of him wanting to leave and everything else. But, all in all, a win is a win. But unfortunately, we've got another international break. So we go into the international break on the back of a win and the back of another. How many players are going to come back and when they're going to come back, and is anyone going to get injured? So
there's another one in November as well.
Yeah.
Pain in the arse, isn't it?
It's just, it's frustrating. It's disappointing in terms of the international break coming when it has done. But all that mattered on Sunday was 3 points. We got 3 points. Dele Alli was nowhere to be seen. I mean, Gaz said at the start, I hope he's nowhere near Tottenham. Unfortunately, he was on the bench, but he didn't. Didn't come up. Didn't bow to it. And you saw. I guess you saw a completely different Nuno after the game. He was smiley. He was happy. It was almost like what he's been saying the last few weeks is like, now I'm putting my stamp on things. Look at what's happened.
I'm not being made to pick Dele Alli.
Yeah.
Brian, you said last week you were looking forward to just seeing your team go ahead in the game and score a goal. Did you miss the goal?
Oh, Johnny, have you not heard this story?
No.
Oh, thanks, Cody. Thanks, brother. So, have anyone here heard about me in this goal?
Yeah.
Okay, so so I'm not ashamed to admit I've had this issue since I stopped drinking, where I've done something to my kidneys where if I don't go to the toilet, it only happens at certain times, all of a sudden I could be fine. And then the next minute I'm like, oh shit, I need the toilet. And if I don't get there soon, I'm going to piss myself. So literally, mate, I can't help it. Unfortunately, thank God that's the only thing I've done to myself whilst preparing my my liver. But I was saying to Danny Kiriak at one point, I said, you know what, Danny, I need to go to the toilet. And I thought I could hold it. And I was like, I bet you they score if I go. What do you reckon? And he was like, no, don't go. And I was like, okay, I'll stay. And then about a split second later, what I thought was need to go to the toilet turned into shit, you're about to wet yourself. So I pelted it down the gangway. And as you know, on the south stand, those stairs are pretty steep. So if you make a mistake, you can go flying. So I was like, oh shit. Got into the concourse. As I made a right to go to the toilet, there's a girl that I used to work with at Selfridges in the call centre going, Brian. So I was like, she came and ran and hugged me. I was like, don't hug me too tight because there could be an issue. And then I was like, just don't do that. And then all of a sudden I heard, oh, yeah. And I was like, you've got to be fucking, you've got to be kidding me. And I thought, you know what? Let me just run up the little stairs to see who scored it. And of course, it's my favourite player in the entire squad, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And I was like, Levy, you bastard. I was like, it's your fault. I swear he's got a voodoo doll on me. I swear to God. So, yeah, but I was like, for God's sake, I still haven't seen a goal. As I got up, obviously, Ben from We Are Tottenham TV and Danny, they're going, go to the toilet again, go again. And they're like, but thankfully, I got to see the second goal. So I did get to see a goal, which is all I wanted to see, and 3 points. But there's every chance. I know you'll have to see Cody. He's so. I'm filing 2 lawsuits against this man when I get back. Cody, and Rez is my solicitor, so it's all good.
Ask him about data.
There we go. No, I love Cody Max. I missed not speaking to him. Well, I have been speaking to him, but because I'm here and he's there, obviously the time differences, and when we're on stream, sometimes doesn't interlude. But listen, I saw a win, but like I was saying, the chance of missing a goal going to the toilet are quite for every fan. It can happen.
Yeah.
But for it to be someone who scores, who is your favourite player, and let's be serious. All right, he may chip in with the odd goal, but he's not one of the regulars that you can bank on. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Just
to make you feel better, Brian. It was a hell of a goal as well, wasn't it? A great finish. Greaves.
I've got a confession as well, Brian. I was also in the toilet.
And
not in the same toilet. We weren't in the same toilet, but I was also in the toilet for when Sonny scored against Watford as well. And the guy who sat behind me, I came back and he went, "Will you piss off? Because we played a lot better." So when you go into the toilet again, because I'll know we're going to play better.
It's so goddamn typical. But like I said, it's 3 points in the bag, and that's all that matters.
I think we need to touch on the importance of Romero's aggression. There was one point that I particularly liked about 20 minutes into the first half. They played it into the channel just in front of the defence, where we were obviously getting overrun by Arsenal last week. And Romero was just as the guy was trying to turn, Romero was right on him, nipped it off his foot, and then we were away again, wasn't he? I just liked his aggression. He just sets the tone at the back there, doesn't he? He looks like a player to me.
Yep,
definitely.
It was very good. It was very good. You know, there was one thing that I think he made the mistake. In actual fact, we've been blaming Dyer, but I think it was actually his mistake that led to Watkins's goal. But I mean, was that his first Premiership game?
No, it was there at Chelsea. He's played against Chelsea.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, it's only his second Premier League start. You know, I think third game overall, because he came on against.
Yeah, he came on a couple of times and just sheer up the defence against a few teams. Yeah, against
Watford and I think anyway. I mean, he's come on a couple of times, but let's say third, fourth appearance. You know, second start. He's fitted in very well.
As well. He hit another load of 2 or 3 long sort of raking balls out to Reguilon, didn't he? Like over the top there, Toby-esque.
You know what it is, Tommy, is Johnny, what I'd say as well is people haven't really, obviously people said he's at fault, and you know what, a defender's going to make a mistake.
Exactly.
Let's face it, we've got Sanchez and Dyer that have, but what you got to remember is if you overlook that game, Dyer looked fantastic, there's no getting away, but he had a great game, and I can't remember the time where both fullbacks have had a great game, both defensively and attackingly. Reguilon has needed a performance like that, and I think, forget that mistake, I can't remember a game honestly since Walker and Rose where both fullbacks have had a very good game.
They were protected, Brian, weren't they, by Dyer, by Sonny and Lucas? I mean, they do their defensive work as well.
They do, but also I don't think you can underestimate the impact that Romero had in settling that defence, because Dyer looked incredible. There's no doubt in it. Like, everyone slates him, but you've got to give credit where credit was due. And Dyer had a very good game.
He did.
A very good game.
It might be the reason why Dyer and Sanchez are so shaky is because they don't feel that they can. There's no mentor mentee or sort of senior junior relationship there. It was like King and Dawson. Dawson wasn't bad, but he wasn't amazing, except when King was playing us alongside him. Dawson was an amazing centre back because he didn't have that responsibility, seemingly leading that defence. That fell on King, who did the job really well.
Similar as he could be aggressive, he could go and head balls and tackle people. Couldn't
he? Exactly.
He knew that Ledley was sweeping up behind him.
Sweeping up behind him, absolutely. So maybe that's what Romero can bring to our central defence. Some, that feeling of being assured, some assuredness. So maybe it will be Sanchez next who plays alongside him, and might be equally effective, because we know Sanchez can play well. He plays well for Colombia. Maybe it's his centre-back partner that gives him the freedom to play better, if you like.
Yeah. unfortunately, I don't know if either of them be available. Were they, Sanchez or?
No, I'm just hypothetically
for the next game due to the nonsense of the late
exactly.
comebacks again.
I mean, who's it going to be? It's going to be Dyer and Roden, wouldn't it? Probably.
Tanganga.
Tanganga's
Well,
around.
Tanganga,
Yeah. Didn't he get left out of the
Oh
squad?
no, he might be in the right because Emerson. He might.
Oh yeah. No, you're right, Rez.
Because of Emerson.
Or should I say Portsmouth?
I should explain, I guess, when we first
I'm guessing the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, when we first logged on, there's only 3 of us, and then Gaz, we weren't sure whether Gaza was coming, and we said we can be D'Artagnan. Did you want to? I can't think of anyone else. Who can Brian be?
There was a 5th Musketeer.
Was there?
I think so. Oh God, it's so long since I sort of read them or sort of watched them. There was a 5th. I'm gonna Google this.
I'm looking.
Albert.
That's
Albert, the 5th Musketeer.
It can't be.
Dave.
I can see why. I can see why the 5th Musketeer wasn't spoken about with names like these: Aramis, Porthos, Athos, D'Artagnan, Albert,
and Keith.
It wasn't Albert, was it? Oh shit! No, sorry, Brian. I don't think you want to be Albert, do you?
No.
Yeah, I'll stick to Brian on tour.
Yeah,
I can only see 4.
Where you get this Albert business from?
I just typed 5th Musketeer and there's Albert. So
is that right?
Oh dearie me.
there were 4 Musketeers.
Yeah, Albert the 5th Musketeer. Oh no, that was a theory. No, that's a cartoon. There's a cartoon called Albert the 5th Musketeer. There was a film called The 5th Musketeer as well, but I don't know if it was actually part of the sort of official story, the Dumas story. I think The Man in the Iron Mask or something might have been. I don't know. It's ages since I've read it.
Oh, dearie me. Are we done with the Villa game then? Should we move on?
Oh, and Sonny was amazing.
Oh, Sonny was amazing. In attitude, his performance. Yeah,
I keep saying it, Mr. Tottenham, Mr. Tottenham, Mr. Tottenham. He's I'm sorry, Harry, but Sonny's our talisman now. He is, for me anyway.
Yeah, in the Guna game as well. He was the guy that was trying to get us back into the game, and even Højbjerg and Kane were flat and dejected, weren't they? And he was still.
That's what matters to Sonny. That seems to matter to him. I need to see that more from the rest of them. He shows that every game. He epitomizes that. You know, he plays for that. Harry hasn't seemingly.
The other players do, Rez. They just act like cocks. They don't act like.
No, honestly, I think if you look at it seriously, there is Mora, Højbjerg, Sonny, established. I'm not getting into Skip and all the ones and Romero who may come into it. But if you look at the nucleus of the main team, Son, Højbjerg, and Mora, will give you 150% and will run all day for the cause, no matter what.
It's like Coco.
Like I said, I mean, we got rid of the wrong players. We let the poison stay. Yeah. One thing you know is Lamela would still give 120%. He would still bleed for the club. I used to call that guy. All of you seen the Vinnie Jones film, Mean Machine?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Lamela is the monk, the Jason Statham character. Literally as nice as pie, but get him on the pitch. He's a psychopath, and he used it. There's no doubt whether you loved him or hate him. He bled for the club, and we need more of them. We need more of them, and just get these prima donnas out.
I always used to say, Brian, you can tell if anyone knows anything about football or not. If they rate Lamela, if they do, then they know about football. If they don't, they have never played the game. They've got no idea about a team ethic and how players like that are so important to the team.
Yeah, it's like.
Just quickly, on a positive note, is anyone going to the Ginola thing tomorrow?
Ginola thing?
There's an evening with Ginola. I think it's one of
There's an evening with David Ginola tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
And a load of us are going. It's being done in Tottenham, not in the stadium, but it's going to be a good night out. And there's quite a few of us that are going. And yes, there should be. I didn't know if any of you had tickets to come.
No,
I'm not about, unfortunately.
I could make it if there were tickets.
I work till.
I don't know if there still is. Type in into Google a night with Ginola.
Yeah, so look.
Hello, Eugene. You're right.
Eugene.
Right.
If you want to jump on, Eugene, the link's in the chat bar. It's right at the top.
I can't see anyone at the moment. So, evening with David Ginola.
Let's see if I can find the email. One sec.
Because he is worth it.
Boom.
Excellent. Tickets cost between £75 and £1,682.19.
Yes, we're in the 70.
No.
Yeah, but that's including like a gourmet dinner and everything. So it's not just there's loads of stuff going on. So
I'm taking my mum to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in January for her birthday, and I still wouldn't pay £1,682 for it.
Yeah.
There's no tickets. I just checked. There's
what
nothing.
about if there's a guy at the top of it going like that with salt? Would you pay
the gold? No, with the gold.
Or squirting fucking ball, or squirting ball semen into the middle of the burger for a pipette. True story, right?
Burger, madame.
We had a local pub to us, the Griffin, Gaza. When it shut down, they used to have all this farming stuff on the walls, like trying to make it look like an old school pub. And when the last night of the pub, like the landlord was giving us all this stuff, and I had this big, like golden pole thing that I woke up in the morning with this big golden pole thing. My mum was like, "What the hell's that?" I was like, "Don't know. I just got it from the last night of the Griffin last night." So I used to keep it in my room.
Where do you live in?
Amersham in Buckinghamshire. So it's like the end of the Met line.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you lost me at Amersham.
Yeah.
Don't ask him to drive, Brian. Yeah, don't ask him to drive.
Here we go. I don't drive in London. It's madness. It's just chaos in London.
Mate, I've never driven a car in my life. Not even in a car park and borrowed my friends to just drive around. Never, ever, ever have I been behind the wheel of a car.
Have you? No, I was Noel Gallagher. You're the Noel Gallagher of the Tottenham.
Yeah, well, Noel Gallagher just gets around in fucking limos. I have to order an Uber. That's a bit different.
You know what he said? Someone said to him, "You ever got to learn to drive?" He goes, "Can you imagine me in a fucking little learn to drive a car, just stalling it all the time? There's a lot of kids walking past going, woo." It's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So I had this gold. It was like a really long. He did. I had this really long gold thing. So I used to keep it in my room as a weapon because my sister was having trouble with her ex-boyfriend at the time, so I kept it there. He used to try breaking in and stuff, so I had this weapon in my room. And then years later I worked out that it was like a bull inseminator. It's like so they should put semen in it
and pump it into cows.
Pump it into cows. So that thing must have seen some action over the years, probably more action than my bedroom at the time.
You were drinking out of it.
I was drinking out of it, yeah. I was using it to put salt and pepper on my dinner.
But you ketchup with it.
Yeah, nice. And on that note, speaking of tosses, Levy's refusing the trust request for a meeting to reassure them as to long-term goals and strategy. Another PR disaster.
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely heartbroken.
I bet you almost fell off your chair, didn't you? I bet you almost fell off your chair. I bet you almost fell off your chair when you found out it was shocking.
Mate, you know what? I went to tweet the trust, and I was trying to find a GIF of Cilla Black going surprise, surprise, but they are very, very hard to find. So, I've been tweeting all day about this utter bullshit.
Laura laughs.
Yeah. But this is just, this is just absolute bullshit, and this happens just typical Spurs timing. That this happens just as Newcastle announced they've become the richest club in the world. This guy, people are saying, "Oh, it's a good job." And do you know what? Now you've mentioned it, someone's just tweeted, and I can't believe this. So, Daniel Levy and Enoch have invested 180 million of their own money into the stadium in order to grow the value of the property. What? They have invested 77 million of their own money in transfers for 21 years.
What? When?
77 million of their own money have been put for transfers over 21 years out of their own pocket, whereas they invested 180 million of their own money into getting the stadium and everything sorted for property business. So with one thing, almost 100 million more. Huh?
That's not how they operate. They've not put any of their own money in.
Apparently they put 77 million in of their own money in 21 years.
I saw the same tweet. I've seen that.
So what's the source of that? What's the source of that? From what I understand, Levy and Lewis have never put, other than the actual purchase of the club, and the purchase of the stock later on, they haven't actually put any money in, any of their own money in to any of the things.
I know they
Either
borrowed
way,
against the
they're
club, didn't they,
pricks,
for the
they're
stadium?
cocks, and I've been tweeting.
If they can't, if they've put money into the stadium, you know, that's the only thing they can get from that is the money back. They can't, you know, if you help build a stadium for a company, you can't then say, oh well, I'm going to take some of its revenue now. It's like, no, you gave us the money to build the stadium. We've built the stadium. Here's your money back. That's as much as they can get. In terms of transfers, the long-standing narrative has always been that they've never put any of their own money in. So I don't know who's saying this. I mean, it's bad enough. 77 million in 21 years is already bad enough, but it's actually less than that. It's zero, from what I understand. If someone can show me that, you know, where they've done this, I'll happily accept it. But I don't think that's true. I think this is just somebody trying to blow smoke up anti-Levy people's into
this.
You know,
listen, let's just hope the move that they've made now today is more petrol on the fire for the Levy inners.
Yeah. Well, exactly what Eugene is saying. Where's the proof of the capital injection? Because that's what it would be. It would be a capital. It would be a capital injection. You know, this is another mistake. Actually, coming back to what we were talking about last week, a lot of people make this mistake about football finance. They think that an owner can just pour money in. You actually can't. Company ownership doesn't allow you to just pour money in. So Abramovich's money is actually a loan. Chelsea owe him nigh on £1 billion. He might not charge interest on it, but on their accounts, owed to Roman Abramovich. The Man City lot,
like Dave Whelan did.
The way they've done it is that they tried to. We saw it with the Der Spiegel revelations. They've done it through, you know, in overinflated or falsely inflated sponsorship deals and stuff like that. You know, there's no way of directly putting money into a company if there are no shares to buy. You know, for instance, if there's no stock to buy, exactly, all capital injection must be recorded, and it's got to be for a specific purpose. If you do it for you know, the purchase of a capital asset, for instance, which you can now do with players, that's a lot easier, but there are still accounting implications that you have to understand, and it's not as simple as all that. So I don't think they've ever directly put money in. Getting back to the main point.
Speaking of Eugene's comment on screen there, Rez, he's doing a special on Levy and all this kind of the money side of things on Sunday morning. He wants you to go on there, so I was supposed to.
Yep. I don't know if Jens told you, Eugene, but yeah, I'm more than happy to appear. Absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff. I think the only capital injection Levy's used was using my bullion seminar, wasn't it? He's giving it.
Mate, like I said, you know what? It comes to the point. It's the way I've been saying it now is I don't know how many bullets Levy has to put in the chamber of reasons for him screwing up before Levy inners pull the trigger and say, you know what, Russian roulette, and it's come through this time because.
Well, yeah, you're right.
It's just literally a look. This is another. They just do not care. They do not care.
Eugene came out with a great point yesterday. Said, you imagine if, say, Levy didn't own those shares, so it was Joe Lewis and it was Steve Lewis, and they were the two shareholders, and Levy would have come out with that comment that they put out in their press release at the end of last season, that we've effectively wasted £150 million on transfers over the last 3 or 4 seasons. He would have been out on his arse. He'd have been sacked if he was just the chief executive. He'd have been sacked. Within his arse would have touched the seat, would it? He'd have been out on the out on his arse completely. Gross mismanagement, isn't it? Gross mismanagement.
I don't know if any of you remember, but I was going to go look at the video, but I can't watch the video of him speaking in the summer again because I'll throw whatever thing I'm watching. But on that Levy video that he did in the summer with Spurs, did he not say that they're going to be more open as a club?
Mm-hmm.
As one of his many lies that he said, as well as open, attractive, expansive football,
communication, and
I mean all of those. I'm sure. I can't, don't quote me, but I'm sure one of them was we're going to be better at dialect with the fans in the future, and we're still waiting to hear from the fans.
The ESL debacle was still hot when he did that, so it was It was all another Cullen-esque.
Of course.
You know.
And you know what? The supporters' trust don't get away with this because they did it on the back of us releasing that statement, and then it's like, oh yeah, well we tried. This is unacceptable.
Yeah,
but what can we do? Bollocks.
What have they said today about the meeting being rejected? What have they said about it? I didn't actually bother clicking the link to read their statement towards. I just had a little chuckle to myself and then moved on. What's their position?
I haven't looked. I haven't actually looked. I was
going to read the statement.
Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Let me just get it out. Let me just read this bullshit. Let me just get it up. Give me 1 second.
Let's talk about cow insemination whilst you to buy the time.
I'll believe you. I'll find it quickly. If you do, let's not do that.
You're going to have to move on soon from that.
Here we go. Last week, the board of Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust asked the board of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club for a meeting to discuss the club's medium to long-term strategy, which is what was quoted in our statement. The club has decided it does not want to address the questions many fans are asking. It has declined to speak to the board of its official supporters trust.
Thanks, you.
The recent missteps of the club's board have been well published and resulted in fierce criticism, not just by the supporters trust and other Tottenham fan groups, but from the wider footballing authorities, the media, and the government. The mixed start to the season has led to many questions has led many to question the focus of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club's board, with its objectives and how it measures progress. And while individual decisions on players and tactics are not within the trust's remit, it is our job to question wider strategy when performance is falling short on the pitch.
Absolutely.
We have continued to work with various heads of department at the club. The club board has refused to communicate, despite saying in public that its door remains open. Now the latest request for the club's board to address legitimate fan concerns has been rejected. With the government's fan-led review into football governance about to publish its recommendations, the actions of the THFC board provide the evidence of why change is needed. The club board wants to choose what it talks about, when it talks about, and who it talks to. It's a stark example of the reality of grace and favour relationships, and it's why we work so hard to develop proposals that would bring real change. The kind of historic change we hope that the review takes the chance to deliver all fan groups across the country. Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust is not the only representative of fans' views at Tottenham Hotspur, but it's the only truly independent, democratic, fully constitutionalised organisation of Spurs fans. And for those reasons, it is essential that there is genuine engagement between the trust and the club's executive board. We continue to argue for a pragmatic approach that puts conservative solutions before merely expressing anger. But what we need to go back to our members and see if they agree. An emergency meeting of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust will be held in the coming days. So look out for a nice cheese and wine evening around yours, and let's all exchange stories in the coming days to discuss options. And we will convene a meeting of our convene a meeting of our members shortly afterwards to agree the next steps. It may well be that recommendations of a fan-led review are published and we go through that process. If so, we will take them into consideration. Now, I've just read that to you, and I could have summed that up in 5 words. Those 5 words are blah, 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 blah.
No, I'm going to have to disagree with this one. All right, look, first and foremost, a lot of people need to understand what the Supporters Trust is there for. The Supporters Trust is not there as something that was formed to hold the club to account. The Supporters Trust was formed to help supporters. Do you know what the main thing that they've done is over the years? They've helped supporters with disabilities.
To the tickets.
No, it isn't. Their main role always was to help supporters, such as disabled supporters, to get access to the stadium when there was White Hart Lane. A lot of the changes that we saw at White Hart Lane with helping disabled fans actually access games came about because of the work that the Supporters Trust did. The other one is helping fans that under ENIC often find themselves getting banned for small little minor infractions, and the Supporters Trust has helped them get their tickets back. A lot of the time they've banned season ticket holders, and the supporters trust that has helped these supporters get their season tickets back. The supporters trust isn't there to analyze everything that it does. They've just fallen into that role because there is no other fan group that has a constituted board, that has a democratic process for electing them, and yet all you see is people lambasting them and making up stuff. So like they turned around and said, oh, but the board refused to meet with Tottenham Hotspur after the ESL debacle. It's like, no, they wanted a meeting in which it was recorded what was said, and the club said that they wouldn't do that. That's why they refused. We seem to think that the supporters trust is some thing that is going to basically steer the direction that the club goes in. It isn't. The only thing they can do is speak out in the same way that those people that were protesting outside the stadium are. It's just another voice that they have. They have no direct influence. They're not funded by the club. They're not connected to the club. The club has absolutely no influence over who is there on their board and what they say. We've got to view them realistically and view them for what they are. They are just a group that supports the supporters. Nothing to do with engagement. They just happen to have fallen into that role because they are the only, as they say, the only officially constituted organization. Yeah, we have to be fair to them.
I can't agree with that. I can't. Yes,
so what do you expect of them, Brian? What do you expect of them?
I agree with you, Ren. Don't get me wrong. The work they do, you're right. Helping the disabled find easier ways to get into the ground, everything like that. Fantastic. As Stelios was saying as well, it's amazing that Estelle confirmed when they sent out the improvement for the stadium. What would you like? Would you like to see this or that and everything? They listen to what the supporters trust say, and they listen because obviously that's the stadium. Listen, Daniel Levy had so many fingers in that Tottenham Hotspur supporters trust. Mate, it's all been organised since Levy's there. Levy does pull strings in there.
He doesn't. I'm a member. He doesn't.
I can confirm to you that
these meetings. I've been to these meetings. I know the board. I've talked to them.
Same here.
They're independent people. They donate their time to this thing. They're not there.
I don't think they do, but you don't know what all of them are doing outside.
Of course,
they can say what they say inside.
But at the same time, you've got to bear in mind, if Levy pulled the strings, there would be no question about not meeting them. They would meet. They would have met them informally after the ESL debacle. If there was influence in that direction, why would they?
Well, no, come off negatively for Levy. When it's positive stuff, they'll meet with them. When it's negative, they won't. It's that simple.
Which suggests
whether you know him or not.
Which suggests that Levy doesn't have influence over them. That's the point.
I think he does, and I'm not going to start mentioning names, but I know people that can echo it, whether they're right or wrong. But I believe what they say.
We can't have that both ways. We can't have this idea that Levy is directly influencing the supporters trust and yet have them in opposition to him. It would be so much easier for him to just basically, if he was the puppet master, to basically say, listen, supporters trust, let's not worry about this ESL stuff right now. You know, in answer to Eugene's question, they govern themselves according to the people that they elect to the board. And any member of the supporters trust can stand for election. You know, there's no closed shop.
Maybe I can stand for election.
Yeah, if it was closed, if it was subject to influence, then, you know, they wouldn't have a democratically elected board. You know, there's no funding there. It's all funded by the members. It's all funded by the people there. People expect so much of them. I think the name is the problem. They've got the concept of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. And so people think that they're directly connected to the club. They're really not. They're just like Change for Tottenham on Facebook. They're just a group of people that have set up their supporters group in this particular fashion with a particular thing that they want to do, which was to help supporters, and have fallen into this role of being someone that Levy is happy to engage with, unlike all the other supporters groups. That's the problem. Again, the problem comes back to Levy. It's not that Levy is running it. It's just the only one that he deigns to engage with, you know, because he can't really turn around and say, well, you know, they're well set up. They've got a constitution. They've got a set of, you know, a board there. Why am I giving a reason why I'm not talking to you? As you see, the PR disaster of refusing to meet with them today. You know, he's not influencing them. They might not necessarily be great, but he's not a direct influence. And we've got to stop attacking ourselves. We've got to stop attacking other supporters. Right?
Let's just go back to Levy being a prick.
Connected to him. Right?
Let's just talk about that.
You know? Attack the person who's responsible, which is Daniel Levy, not the Supporters Trust.
Do you think he just doesn't care at all? What does he hope to achieve by rejecting their request for a meeting? Surely he just pays them lip service, listens to him, gives them a cup of tea, pats them on the head, and away you go. I don't understand why he's not even going to bother having a meeting with them this time. What does he hope to achieve? Let's try and put yourself in his shoes. Yeah. Anyone wants to?
I genuinely think he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Surely he knows the bad publicity that's going to come about it, especially ahead of the NFL protests that are planned as well. I think maybe it's arrogance. He thinks he's untouchable, doesn't he?
Teflon.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, the good thing is now, obviously, you're talking about the process. The lads were there as well. We didn't have the best numbers at all. It's quite. To begin with, it's the first time I spoke about this, Johnny. Obviously, not in general. I spoke about it quite a bit, but with yourself. Beforehand, I was absolutely goddamn furious with the numbers because we heard so many people in the chat and on Twitter giving it, yeah, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And then when it comes to it, they're nowhere to be seen. But and then what really annoyed me is people coming past us, taking pictures, going like this, and saying, I support you, but walking off. And I was like, you fucking idiots. I was like, why say it and walk past us and say, yeah, I support you and do this, but then walk away? And I was like, do you know what? Then I started thinking, which is highly weird for me. I never think. And then I started thinking, do you know what? If they post it on social media, that's what we want. It wasn't, do you know what? Yes, it's about numbers. Yes, it's about numbers. But the main aim was to get the attention of the media. And when I say the media, I don't mean little bits in here and there. I mean hooking a wow kind of thing. And it was also to get a Levy out banner into the ground. Well, we got into the Daily Mail. We got onto One Football. And we got into a few other media outlets.
That's good.
And we also got the Levy in flag. So then I started thinking, Levy in flag, Levy out flag. Levy out flag. Levy out flag in. Levy out flag in. See, my solicitor is dealing with this shit. My
client would like to read the following statement. Sorry.
Exactly. So that was the main aim and the objectives. I always said on all the streams, listen, Villa has come around really, really quick. Really, really quick. So I don't know what to expect. I was expecting more in people, but we did get a few people together and we were singing and shouting and whatever. And we did. I mean, even the police, God bless them, they're actually very friendly. Like, guys, you're doing nothing wrong. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You expect. Really, really, they knew it was coming, and they came over and chatted with us. And this time is going to be obviously. We need more people, but the main aim is. I can tell you now, from living on that side of the pond, there are going to be so many media outlets out there. I mean, loads. And it's a case of getting into these media outlets and speaking about what is happening at our club.
Yes, I
do care about the numbers.
It's causing him embarrassment. As long as we can cause him some embarrassment.
Exactly. That's what it is. To cause him as much embarrassment as possible. So where people are going, oh, you got no numbers. Yes, we want more numbers. But I also think, do you know what? And Rez and the other boys will be able to say as well, is I think a lot of people who say, yeah, they're with us, they're scared to join us because obviously we're so few and we're not treated very nicely by a lot of people that they may think, do you know what? If this was a bigger thing, I wouldn't stand out like a sore thumb kind of thing. And I can understand that. I can completely understand that. But hopefully with the NFL, because obviously there's no Tottenham game going on. So if you come down, you're hardcore in this and you want Levy out. You're not just coming down there because Spurs are there. So to start off where I was really, really aggravated with the lack of people, I can kind of understand you know what, there's not enough people. I don't want to get involved. They may be scared about what will happen, like if there's any violence or whatever, which obviously we don't condone, but there has been violence towards Levy outers from Levy inners. So
or losing their season tickets, maybe.
exactly.
Putting their name to it,
There's so many. I mean, for instance, the people, everyone that turned up,
comes back to why the Supporters Trust is an ally, not a standby. Because if you do get banned because you're protesting, which you have a legal right to do, there is nothing illegal, and they cannot take away something that you've purchased on the basis of you exercising your legal right to protest. The Supporters Trust will be the first people that you should call to help you get your season ticket back if that happens. This is what I'm talking about, natural allies, right? We've got one focus of opposition, one, Levy, right? And in answer to Tony's question, there is nothing wrong with asking for somebody to resign. If someone has not done a job properly, calling for their resignation is not a crime. It is not a sin. It is a perfectly valid thing to do. How many MPs, how many ministers have we seen resign when something happens?
Yeah,
part of the course. Okay, this idea that Levy is pissed off because he was asked to resign and so is playing childish games by not meeting with the people that oppose him, that just actually shows more that he's inappropriate to be a leader, because if a leader can face his critics, can actually
and also like we said about on Saturday, all the flags are up for the NFL on the lamppost outside the ground. It's not like and in the shop as well. I went in to get a program for Laura's boy Max, who he always wants to get a program and everything else. So I went in there. They cordoned off the shop because they were putting the NFL stuff up. Now I appreciate that if that was the next day, but we're talking about 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
And how long does it take? How long does it take to change the pitch over? 90 minutes?
It's because they've got agency staff on site at the time. If they would do it another time, they'd need to hire agency staff to do it. It's all cost cutting, mate. That's the reason for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't want to go to football on Sunday and see the NFL stuff.
The NFL, I'm no interest in America. I know, Brian, you love the NFL, so
I'm wearing right now the team that I trust.
Yeah,
a team I can depend on.
For some, absolutely, the NFL will be interesting, but it is that very concept of Tottenham first, and everything that happens around it is supposed to support that. It's supposed to be the thing that raises the boat,
supplementary.
not the main event. And now I think that's a very valid area of concern, and those are things that we should be asking you about. Absolutely.
Did Paratici mention it? The next point to talk about. Did he mention it on his little in-house TV interview today? Did he mention anything to do with protests and meetings? And no, it's all to do with.
That was the club talking to itself.
Right.
That was the club talking
wasn't
to
it?
itself. So, I mean, it's just so much more interesting than a statement, or a piece of text. But that's all it was. It was a case of, we want to do some in-house publicity. Let's get I've forgotten his name, Ben something or other. Let's get him to interview Paratici rather than get Paratici to do a video. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, when you do a video on WhatsApp and you're not meant to send it to someone and then you do. Yeah. I think they've kind of done that, and they pitch it. It's just, I've been saying it today. Daniel Levy has taken away the club from the fans. It is no longer a club. Tottenham Hotspur stand for something. They stand for passion. They stand for class. They stand for just so many things, which was the heartbeat of the community, which was something like a rite of passage, like a love, and now it's just do you know what? I support Tottenham. I'm going to the game. It's now just kind of a habit. There is no connection. There's just nothing there. There's nothing there. It's like Peter. What is it when they say he steals from the rich and gives to the poor? But what's happened here is he's stolen from us and he's given it to the rich.
To the rich.
That's all he's done. That's all he's done.
That's the world. That's the world.
To tell the truth, I don't give a fuck what happens with the rest of the world, but I do care what happens to my football club. And that's the thing. And like I said, I spoke to Rez about it, and I've said it before. When I go back to Canada, I said this before on one of Will Stewart's, and I had so much backing to get this organised from people in Texas, Los Angeles, Miami, Canada. I am starting a North American protesting, but the things we're going to be going for is Nike HQs, Nike stores around America and Canada, the NFL HQ and NFL shops around Canada and America, and also Tavistock in Florida.
Oh, their little helipad.
Their little empire and the headquarters of it all. So when I get home, and I've actually extended my trip for a week so I can be there for the Man U game to protest. This is how deep my convictions for this. I'm here and I can only do so much, but what I can do, I will do. So yeah, when I get back to North America, and they love a protest in North America.
Do they?
Oh yes.
It's
the home of protesting. I can just say, listen, guys, do you want to protest? They'll be like, yeah, sure. What are we protesting against? And then I'll be like, yeah, come here. But it's going to be done right. It's going to be done well. And this can't be. I mean, I've posted so many. I've tweeted so many pictures today with statements. I mean, you look at it. There's one, and so we'll go to the great man himself. Where is it?
Oh,
here it is, by Mr. Bill Nicholson himself. We must always consider our fans, for without them, there will be no professional football. When you can disconnect from the fans, you lose more than you win, and we must not let that happen. And that's Bill Nicholson saying it.
That was one of his great things he used to say to the players before every game, wasn't it? You were playing for them guys out there. You're not playing for yourself. You're doing it for those guys out there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same last week. It's the thing. The problem. See, there's always a bigger problem. You know, we say there's bad results on the pitch. There's always a bigger problem. You know, we say that there's a disconnect at Tottenham between the fans and the club. There's always the bigger problem, and the bigger problem is modern football. Right. This is what the protests that fans do. Really, it's what we need. The only strength we have is numbers, right? We don't have political strength. We don't have financial strength. We don't have, influence in the right places. We have numbers. And when you have enough numbers, you can effect change. What is actually needed beyond just the question of Levy's ownership or Levy's management of the club is the fundamental problem with modern football, especially in this country, which we saw another example of, and I'm not segueing into that, I'm just mentioning it in passing, which we saw another example of today with the takeover of Newcastle. Okay, when you commodify football to the extent that it has been, these are the natural results of it. So any protest that we have against Levy should also be almost as an adjunct to a greater protest against the way that football is being administered by the Premier League and the Football Association in the country. This is what the fan-led review should deliver. Whether it will, we don't know. This actually answers Tony's previous question, the other one that he asked, in terms of fan communication. It's about pressure, Tony. It's about showing that there are enough people out there who are dissatisfied with the status quo. And that's how you affect any change. You have to shout both loudly enough in terms of numbers, but also intelligently enough to say that there is an alternative. These people are Tina people. There is no alternative. We have to show them that there always is an alternative, and there is an alternative.
So talking of the Newcastle takeover, Gaz, you haven't spoken for a while. What do you think?
We've been dominating. I do apologise to my fellow guests.
No, don't worry.
It's fine.
Gaz, taking the point on the screen, could the Newcastle takeover be a positive for Spurs? Does it mean he's got to pull his finger out and invest a bit more just to keep up with?
I don't think it will change his view at all, personally. It's good for Newcastle fans. They're loving it in the moment, but I don't see Daniel Levy trying to raise the stakes at all whatsoever in the back of this. It will intensify the fans' dislike towards him, because I think a lot of people probably think the same way as myself. It won't affect him one little bit jot.
I love how some Newcastle fans were saying we've got our Newcastle back. It's like, really? Were you always an epicenter of human rights violations? I had no idea.
Have you never been out on a night out up there?
Oh, it's amazing. I have a real soft spot for Newcastle because of their fans and because of that city. I love that city and their fans. I mean, they're just incredible. And you know what? Newcastle growing up in the 90s and whatever, that team used to mean something, and it used to embody something. And you know what? If it was to happen to another Premier League team that wasn't ours, fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. All right, I don't agree with the owners and what they stand for and everything at all. But let's face it, they're now, mate, I wouldn't be surprised if Conte's in charge against us.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's... And people watch out. And is it going to make him change his ways? No. He'll probably say, "Do you know what? Don't.
Not at all.
You're now going to have to win the Conference League, so you get into the Europa League, because in January Newcastle are going to go goddamn crazy.
Yeah.
In January, Newcastle will go goddamn mental.
Yeah, it will take. It's not going to be January. It's not going to be January, Brian. It'll take them time. You got to bear in mind.
They'll get like Man City given a Robinho. There will be a marquee signing in January, if not two.
Oh yeah.
And the thing you've got to laugh at as well. I mean, the Geordies have been ready to turn on their team as soon as they go a goal down or not up within 20 minutes or whatever. And the reason I've got such a bond with Newcastle as well, when you go to St James's Park, those fans, even if you're at Tottenham, their fans are incredible.
Yeah,
and
true.
When St James's Park is rocking in a good way, it's not a nice place to be for an away fan or an away team, shall I say. And on Sunday, that place, for the first time in about 10 years, is going to be absolutely rocking.
Good job we're not playing them then, isn't it?
The roof's coming off.
They're a bogey team for us anyway. They've always been a bogey team for us anyway. So I don't expect any points.
Bring back a tuba. We need a tuba.
When we go back.
Get a tuba on loan.
Yeah.
And we've also had good links with him over the years. I mean, from Gascoigne, Chris Waddle before that. Ginola, we got him from Newcastle as well, didn't we? So we have had some, Celez, Raw Fox, we've done.
Kevin Scott.
Jermaine Genus as well.
Yes, true.
Yeah, we've plundered them quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah.
No more.
Kane to Newcastle. Came to Newcastle in the summer.
They'll be plundering us.
Yeah. Good luck trying to get some maximum now. Good luck trying to get some maximum.
Well, you never know. They'll be in the market for other players pretty soon, so maybe he'll be available.
200 million for Kane.
He's not in that top bracket, is he?
Oh, mate.
Did you see that's another thing we talked about Sky earlier. After Salah scored his goal on the weekend, in the papers on TalkSport the next day, they were like, Man City launched £75 million bid for Mo Salah, wasn't it? It's like, hang on a minute.
Mo Salah.
So if Grealish is 100 million and Mo Salah's only 75 million, are they lowballing Liverpool as well there with their offer, like they were lowballing Kane? You're not going to get Mo Salah for 75 million, are you? Or was that linked to the fact his contract's running incredibly low? You're not even.
When is his contract up? Do we know?
There's talks about him trying to get a wage increase.
They were trying to renew it. Yeah.
Do we know how much he's on? Do you know what his salary is?
No.
Fair whack.
He'll be in the high hundreds at least. At least. I mean,
did you see that? The Liverpool fans saying about him not being from Africa. They were like saying,
my God, that was so funny.
That's brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, mate. I listen to sometimes. I keep replaying it. Have you watched it on TalkSport when the guy from Liverpool starts saying, "I don't support England. I'm from Liverpool, not England."
I'm not.
Mate, it's just absolute. I mean,
Scouse,
those fans.
not English. Scouse.
I'm Scouse, not English. I don't support England. Us Liverpool fans don't support England. We support Liverpool. And then with Mo Salah, he's not from Africa. It's just like, oh my good God.
Jamie Carragher was like that, though, wasn't he? He was like, I'm Scouse, not English. That's why he said he could never connect to England, because he didn't consider himself. He didn't connect to being English. It's Scouse, not English.
Oh dear, oh
Bunch
dear.
of- bunch of idiots.
Independence for Liverpool.
Hey, calm down.
Listen, yeah, you know, I just think that we need to be like a separate nation, you know,
Yeah.
and have our own flag and stuff. You know,
That's not
put
bad.
a bird on it.
That's not bad, guys. On that
most-
note, I'm going to have to go because I said I'll go on Tommy's stream at 9 o'clock.
Okay,
And I
mate.
need to have a cigarette. So, guys, listen, it's always a pleasure spending
Yeah.
time with you.
Cheers.
If any of you guys get down for the protest, I will see you there. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully, there's more numbers. But the main aim is to get as much in the media's faces as possible. And there's going to be a lot of media, and especially when the game's going on, I think it's just going to be mainly us outside. So the media are going to have a pinpoint to focus on. So even if you can only get there for 10 minutes, even if you get there for an hour, even if you're there for the whole time, please come and help. And on that note, I'll just leave with my famous 2 words, as always, Levy.
Good luck. It's all right. Cheers,
Cheers,
Brian.
Brian.
Cheers, Brian.
Mo Salah's
Right.
got 2 years left.
2 years left
Okay.
now. All right.
Yeah, so so is that 1 year in the summer? Is that 2 years like now?
2023.
2023.
Yeah,
right.
2023.
Yeah, it's
So
got
a year in the summer, isn't it? Yeah.
Speaking of people whose contracts ran out, the next talking point, Sergio Aurier's goodbye message to the players and fans. Did anyone see that? Did any comments on it?
Yeah.
When did that land?
He put it on his Instagram yesterday. Do you want me to
Yesterday,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll talk
It was
amongst
nicely
yourselves?
written.
I'll find it for you. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find it for you. Yeah,
No, I didn't see that.
talk amongst yourselves.
I was going to say, I'll wait for
we
LJ
need
to
to,
get it up. There was one point that
Sorry, go on, Gaz.
I was going to say there was one point that really stood out for me, but I'll wait until LJ reads it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, we can continue the in-depth discussion on bull insemination. Cow insemination.
Yes. Is that where Nick keeps going off to? Has he borrowed it, LJ?
He's going to fill up. He's going to fill up my ball tube. Right.
Sorry.
Are you ready? I shall read out his statement, Nick. Are you ready
Yeah,
for the instant reaction from Rez and Nick? To
All
my big family, my supporters. First of all, I would like to thank all the Spurs fans for these amazing 4 seasons by your side. They were all different, but I leave with memories to remember. Had great fun wearing your colours proudly. It's true that everything hasn't been perfect. There have been moments of joy and sadness, but know one thing. I've always played by investing 100%, no cheating. I'd never see myself in another club in England unless it's your home. And I couldn't see myself joining that enemy, even less, because I have way too much respect for our club, our history, and all the moments we shared together. You've shown unfailing support during these 4 seasons, and I really want to thank you for bringing me so much. These past few months haven't been easy, and I wish I could have said goodbye in better conditions, but every story has its end, sadly. You've got to accept it and move on. I am now addressing you, my former teammates, my brothers with whom I've experienced a lot. I really enjoyed playing alongside you. I know you'll miss me, especially in our dressing room where I like to set the mood. I wish you all the best for this season, and I promise I'll be back to see you all soon. You won't forget me soon. Kiss. Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I like
And
Serge.
I like the bit about how he wouldn't play for anyone else.
No one else in England. He obviously heard the rumours of
Him to Arsenal, yeah.
going to Arsenal, yeah. I guess you couldn't come out and deny it in case you got desperate and no other clubs in the world came in for you and you're like, gonna have to go there, aren't I?
I don't think there was ever the danger of that though for Serge. There would always have been someone who'd buy him.
He could have come play football with us on Monday nights.
Could have done, yeah. Derek says our Champions League days are well and truly over. We are going to swap places with Newcastle just above the relegation places in lower mid-table under Levy and Enoch.
No, worse. It's actually worse. We're not going to be sort of just above the relegation places. We're going to be slap bang in the middle where no one cares.
Yeah.
Last season's relegation battle will still be talked about. Relegation candidates will be talked about. Potential champions will be talked about. The ones right in the middle, no one gives a shit about.
Yeah. There's only one thing worse than being talked about in there, and that's not being talked about. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know.
Next
So-
point. Anyone want to say anything about Sergio Aurier? Then does it affect your? Are you still pleased he's gone? Does it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Pleased he's gone, and that's it really.
Yeah. Wish him
Please,
well.
he's
We wish
gone
him.
because he needed to go. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily don't feel sadness over the fact that he's gone. You know, you can be happy about the fact of something, but not necessarily, but saddened by the event of it. You know, I'm sad that Sissoko's gone in terms of he's not at the club anymore, but we needed to get rid of him for the good of the club. But you know,
I wonder how this affects Juan Foyth, because he was at he's gone to the same club, and he was playing right back, wasn't he? So he's also got some competition there for right back.
yeah. Well,
We'll
We'll
have to
winning trophy.
We'll have to discuss that on our Juan Foyth podcast tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Next talking point. Nick, we'll let you take this one. I know you listen to TalkSport during the day. What did you make of that clown O'Hara going on about we should have an 18-team Premier League? Was it just clickbait and on the wind up, or did you think he's got a point about getting rid of a couple of the weaker teams, maybe like Arsenal and West Ham?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Arsenal and Chelsea.
No, I just think it's just a bit of. It was a slow news day, and Jamie O'Hara wanted to get himself
Get people talking about Jamie O'Hara.
Yeah.
what's his
Apparently,
justification?
it was Jason Cundy brought it up, and he just delivered it.
Yeah. Have you not heard it, Rez? He was saying we should have an 18-team Premier League, get rid of a couple of the weaker teams, because there's a couple of teams that get promoted every year who are there just for the ride, and they're not competitive, and it'd be a better, more competitive league if we had 18 competitive clubs rather than 18.
That's his justification.
Yeah.
Well, that's just stupid because you're not getting rid of Oh, for God's sake, Jamie.
He mentioned Norwich by name.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
fine. So let's say, for instance, last season we had 18 clubs. 4 of them would have been relegated, but Norwich would have come up, Jamie. Oh, my God. I mean, seriously, these people are the ones that commentate on our game?
The thing is, Norwich are too good for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premiership, and they won't spend the money to stay in the Premiership because they don't want to be sustainable. Yeah, exactly. They don't want to just go and blow loads of money and then get.
We need a 12th man out here. Come on.
Where are you?
Let's be having
Where is be having you? Yeah. Thanks, Delia.
Should be spitting.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, do you know what? I tell you what, as chairman stroke owners go, at least she's got some fucking balls. At least she's got some balls.
Yeah. She's got more balls than Levy.
Yeah. You know, where was the last time he came out
decent season, one pre-season, one decent.
They haven't got much choice up in Norwich, have they? It's either Delia or the guy that owns Coleman's, isn't it? Really, the only two bits of money in Norwich.
Well, there's also Aviva
and Brazil.
Steve Coogan, Aviva or Steve Coogan.
Yeah, Norwich Union or as they were.
Yeah.
No, it's
Lotus, who sponsor their training ground.
Who does?
I mean, in terms of a serious answer to his saying, it's just ridiculous. It's not going to think. The only reason you would reduce the size of the PL would be to ease fixture congestion. That is a valid argument. Whether or not you agree with it is something else, but it's a valid argument. But the idea that you're going to make it more competitive by having fewer teams in it, that doesn't work unless you get rid of relegation and promotion, because you're always going to have championship clubs coming up and that cycle.
It brings you on to the Celtic and Rangers argument. They are tried and tested bringing Celtic and Rangers in, but that would just kill Scottish football, and their TV deal would die. There's no if you took the big clubs away from there, I suppose they make all their money when the big clubs come to play, don't they? When they play them at their ground, so you can do it unless Sky subsidised it.
Yeah, those two Scottish clubs would need to make their way up the pyramid as well, wouldn't they? Theoretically.
The only way they do it is if Sky subsidised the TV agreement in Scotland to give those other teams money just to prop them up, for like they do with the parachute payments at the moment, just to prop them up for a while so they can be self-sustainable.
But even then, they don't have the attendance numbers. It's only really Hearts and Hibs that rival Celtic and Rangers for thing, and even that isn't even close. You know, I mean, Ibrox holds 50,000?
I think
50, 55,000.
55,000. And Celtic Park, it's not Celtic Park, I've forgotten what Celtic's ground is called, but that's similar. Hibs, what's it called? Easter Road is only about 20-something thousand, and Hearts is a bit bigger. But, attendances just aren't even in the same ballpark in the rest of the league. So that's where revenue comes from, other than TV. So you can't pull Celtic and Rangers out of that thing and hope that Scottish football will be in any way. It'll be the equivalent of the Slovenian league. They turn into NS Moras, pretty much.
They'd have the only way they could do it is to incorporate the whole of the Scottish pyramid into the English pyramid, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you'd find a balance. But clubs like Celtic and Rangers would be probably mid-table. Premier League, anyone below that, Hearts and Hibs would probably be regular Championship clubs. The rest would be scattered throughout League One and League Two.
Ibrox is 50,000, Celtic Park is 60.
There you go.
Yeah, the worrying thing about the Jamie O'Hara thing was that a lot of people were saying, that's just done Norwich's team till next time Tottenham play him. It's like, Jamie O'Hara is not we don't want him. You have him.
He's not an exemplar of Tottenham. Yeah.
He's nothing to do with us. We don't like him any more than you do.
Yeah.
Don't allow yourselves to be triggered by him. He's nothing to do with us. Speaking of people,
although he did, in his defence, he did defend us when Arsenal beat us, saying that Arsenal were acting like they won the league when they'd only beaten a below par side.
I did like those tweets saying Tottenham are having the worst season in history, and then they've gone back above Arsenal and West Ham. They've gone above West Ham, who are flying apparently, and Arsenal have just won the World Cup last week, and above both of them again. Speaking of people that have been disowned by the club, next point. Why does Jason Cunty have such a chip on his shoulder about Spurs? He's constantly having a pipe earlier again.
He's a Chelsea fan.
I know, but even the Newcastle news, he turned the context of it onto Tottenham, didn't he? Saying, "Oh, it's not good news for Tottenham. It's not good news for the other 19 Premier League clubs." No. Why are you bringing Tottenham into it?
Yeah.
Why do we know? Genuine question. Why does he hate us so much, considering he played for us?
What was his time like with us?
He was awful. He was shit.
He scored from a clearance at halfway line against Ipswich. He slid in for attack on the halfway line and scored. That's all I really remember him doing.
I mean, it was before my time. How long was he with us?
A couple of seasons.
Not long. Couple of seasons.
I think Derek's hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah. It may well be just as simple as that. He's just a twat. Maybe that's it.
I just wonder what the reason is, because he's obviously got a personal vendetta against us for some reason, and he just does something's happened along the line which he can't let go. He can't let it go.
Well, it's like Tongi wanting out because Ryan Mason dropped him for the Carabao Cup final. It could be something just as simple as that. Some people hold a grudge.
I think his point about Newcastle's takeovers today was the fact that Tottenham aren't owned by people who will just fritter money away, i.e. like Man City, Abramovich, etc. So I think his point was it's bad news for Tottenham because they're going to come in and just go, right, we're going to spend a fair few within financial fair play rules, whatever they are and stand for. But yeah, he knows for a fact that Levy won't go out and do that sort of thing. So I think that's his point in terms of us today, is how I read it anyway.
He played 28 games for us over 2 seasons. He was on loan. Yeah.
I just maybe he just wasn't appreciated by whoever was managing us at the time. Just didn't feel that his career went anywhere with us. Maybe he didn't want to. He came from Chelsea, didn't he? Maybe he didn't want to leave Chelsea. There could be any number of reasons, but there's all when you listen to him. And I don't frequent TalkSport as a rule anyway, but when you do listen to him, he doesn't come across as a particularly smart person anyway.
No.
No.
And
let's leave it there.
Yeah. No. Listen.
Don't waste any more time on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
you
not
can't
going
add
to
anything
pretend.
to that.
Yeah.
That's a perfect summation of him. Yeah.
I'm going to have a gear change. Nick, that third shirt is slowly growing on me.
Is it?
Ooh.
Yeah, slowly. Stand up.
Well, that's what I thought I'd go.
Probably.
Give us a twirl.
Give us a 12, Nick.
Give you a
Get on the
12.
catwalk.
Yeah,
Get on the catwalk.
It's a bit difficult with the.
It's not much space in your mum's basement.
No, there's not much space in the basement, mate. I've cleared it out, but it's still a load of toilet roll and everything else.
In case you're watching, Paul. In case you're tuning in, Paul.
Yeah, just for you, Paul.
Yeah. Hi, Paul. We haven't met, but hello.
Yeah, we haven't met, but hello. So my next point. I was trawling YouTube as you tend to do the other day, and you get lost in tangents and going off and so. And someone had done like a highlights package of Jimmy Greaves against Man United from the 1964-65 season. It wasn't just his goals; it was actually his whole performance in the match.
Nice.
And he looked not just a goal scorer. He was dropping deep all the time, picking the ball up and hitting these beautiful through balls and beautiful passes and stuff. He was a great footballer as well. I was just going to say, everyone, if you get a moment to Google Man United, Jimmy Greaves highlights v Man United 1964-65. He did score one of his iconic goals in that game when he span and dribbled it past them all. But he was on fire that day. I mean, just some of the football he played, just dropping deep. You get everyone says how lazy he was and he was just a goal scorer, and he didn't get involved in the game. But he bossed that game. He was just dropping into midfield, picking the ball up from deep. He was certain players when they're actually on it. He was on it that day, and he was just it was a joy to watch. So I just wanted to say to everyone, if you get a chance, Google that Jimmy Greaves highlights into that one.
Yeah, there's a difference between laziness and just being that good. When you don't need to work hard to be good, why work hard? He didn't have to work hard. I mean, I'm guess he probably did, to think, but to do what he needed to do, he didn't need to work.
I was watching the Greaves documentary the other day, and there's a bit in it when he said Bill Nicholson would go through tactics and analysing the opposition for an hour, and then Greaves just cut him down at the end of it, saying you're either a good player or you're not, and then just walk out. He didn't believe in tactics or anything. But he used to drive Bill Nicholson wild. He used to say, Greaves used to just say the same thing at the end of all these tactical meetings. Look, you can either look, Bill, you can either play the game or you can't. Yeah. He said, stop overanalyzing it. You can either play the game or you can't.
Just going back to Gaz's shirt thing, apparently the 22-23 shirts have been leaked.
What?
Yeah.
So have you seen?
It's got yellow trim in it around the collar and
the away one.
So that is the home one with yellow.
Show the away.
The away is
Show the away one. You might recognise this, lads.
That looks like the Ajax semi-final. Oh no, is it blue or green?
Blue.
No, it's
blue. Sorry, look green for a sec.
Blue.
Okay.
Sorry, blue.
I'm trying to get it near the screen.
Yeah.
Loving a bit of yellow, aren't they? Loving a bit of yellow.
Yes.
It's like your hoodie, Nick.
Yeah.
They're bringing in the colours early.
So
might have decided that for the length of the Nike contract, it's going to be those principal colours. Maybe.
So let's have a bit of fun before we leave for today. There's obviously no game this weekend, so I've got a few little fun ones to finish on. So I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter this Cody's tweet that he put out earlier. Let's get your take on it. You ready for this, Rez?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give up Tottenham Hotspur on music, which one would you give up?
That's a good one. I would probably you're probably going to lynch me for this. It'd probably have to be Tottenham Hotspur because music is something that I think about or will have some connection with every single day. Tottenham Hotspur does flit in and out of my mind on a daily basis. But music is thing. So probably music. If I had to give up, I'd probably have to give up Tottenham Hotspur. I'd be heartbroken, but yeah.
Speaking of music, Dave Grohl's new book's out. I can highly recommend that. I've got it on audio books. I've been listening to over the last day. It's brilliant. It's really good. Cool. Some of his stories on the road from over the years and his feelings on Nirvana and stuff towards the end. So awesome. Highly recommended. Nick, if you're giving up Tottenham Hotspur or music, what are you doing?
Could probably. I could probably eat either one, really, give or take. It depends what's kind of going. It's kind of if I had to be stuck on one, I'd probably I'd probably say music, just because I probably don't have the time to do it, and I make time to go and have my weekends ruined by.
Now, it'd be interesting to see what Gaz's answer is, because I don't. In all the years I've known you, Gaz, maybe over 30 years or whatever it is, I don't think I've ever heard you listening to music in your car. What music do you actually like, Gaz? I don't actually know.
Like Jamiroquai?
Oh,
I don't mind.
Yeah,
I like any
not
sort of
Jamiroquai.
music.
Yeah.
But no, I don't play a musical instrument. I could probably live without music, so I say music. I can imagine it's going to be a very tricky answer for yourself, LJ.
Yeah, very tricky. I was deliberating it for ages, thinking, this way and that way and that one. I thought it's one of those questions I can't possibly answer. I could
always sing to myself if I lost
like
music.
Rez said, most of my days are consumed with thinking about music for the most of the day, but the rest of the day is thinking about Tottenham. So it's probably a 50-50 split. If you look into my head, it's like music and Tottenham 50-50 throughout the day. So I can't really choose. It would be too impossible to choose.
Tough one.
It is a tough one.
No, you got to. You have to.
Danny's going for Tottenham. Fuck them. Keep music all day long. Nothing beats music. It awakens your head, doesn't it? Music, and Tottenham depresses your head. The best way to transmit and feel emotions. It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I go crazy.
But when the highs, they are very high.
If I'm not creating for any particular period of time, writing or recording songs, I go nuts. I go stir crazy. Stir crazy, yeah, I should say, before you lot say anything.
If the question was Tottenham or pizza or cheesecake,
yeah, we all know it'd be Tottenham then, Gaz.
Gaz, here's a tricky one for you: pizza or cheesecake? If you have to give up one forever,
which one to get rid of?
Yeah, keep one and get rid of one forever. Pizza or cheesecake?
I've never seen. While Gaz is thinking, I'll tell you the story about Sam's stag do. And Gaz had bought this beautiful, I have to say, beautiful pizza that was probably the size of, I don't know, half the size of my dining table. It was absolutely massive. And he's come outside. I'm stood next to him. He's offered me a slice. The slice.
No, I was by the serving hatch on the street.
Yeah. It was like this big. So I'm sat there. I've got my kebab because look Turkish. So let me go to the front. Didn't have to do. That was another story. But Gaz had given me a piece. We just finished it, and then we'd looked down. It all kind of a kerfuffle, let's just say, had gone on inside. We looked at each other. We looked down on the floor, and this pizza was on the floor. We looked down at each other, and we were just in utter dismay of what had happened to this pizza. And then there was a point where we both thought, actually, it wouldn't be that bad if we picked it up off the floor.
The 5-second rule would have been employed.
Did you?
No, because there was a bit of a scrap going on with the rest of our stag party, so we're kind of trying to work out what's going on.
Were you in the checkers when Scotty had his pizza and he was pissed and he was like against the wall like that? His pizza rolled down the box. It's like a calzone at the bottom of the thing, and it's like Rodney triggering Only Fools and Horses. We saw him open his box, and he was like looking for his pizza. Like, where's the pizza gone?
Where's it gone?
Like, rolled up onto the bottom of his box.
Rolled itself up.
And then he got the needle because he thought we'd nicked his pizza.
Right, I've got an answer for you.
Go on. Cheesecake
I'll give up cheesecake. I'll give up cheesecake because you can get pineapple on a pizza. Controversial, but that could be like a dessert.
Fair enough.
I don't mind a bit of pineapple on a pizza.
You must love pizza.
Gaz loves pizza. He also loves also on that stag do. Gaz had a little afternoon kit. We went out for dinner, mid-afternoon dinner. Someone brought Gaz some cheesecake back because we didn't feel that he was left out.
Sam did. No, we've been to Airball that morning, haven't we? We've been on the booze all day. And my little one was only not long born. She was only a few months old.
Don't try and blame this on Sienna as to why you were dying.
No, I was tired because I wake up during the night with her.
Well, I can't make it.
That's what you do.
I don't make good pizza, but I do make a good cheesecake. So I'll make you a cheesecake one day, guys. Just a little
Nice
gift.
one. Thank you.
Right, a bit of fun for you boys and everyone watching then. So, the ultimate Spurs footballer. Whose attributes would you give him? We'll make it quick fire. So we'll go around. We'll start with Rez. Are you ready? I'll put up the attribute and then you have to choose it. So first of all, Rez.
Left foot. Oh, left foot. Christ. Ginola. That's all I can think of.
Bale.
Yes, of course, Alf. Yeah, Bale. There you go.
Gaz, hold your hand up. Have you got
I
more
was going to say Bale.
Have you got a left foot?
You know what? I have actually got cheesecake in the fridge.
You do surprise me.
You're holding me up. You three are holding me up.
Nick, the heart and desire. If you could choose any player in Spurs history to make our ultimate Spurs footballer, the heart and desire of
Ledley.
Any other suggestions, boys?
Van der Vaart.
Yeah.
Gary Mabbott.
Or Gary Mabbott. Yeah, good shout.
Yeah.
Who are we going for? Steve Perriman as well. Yeah, that's a good one. Actually,
Son.
I think Sonny. Yeah,
Sonny.
Who are we going for then in our
More
ultimate
recent
Spurs footballer?
times.
We need to decide. We've got the left foot of Bale. I think we'll agree with the left foot of Bale.
Yeah.
I'll be inclined to go with Steve Perriman, heart and desire.
Yeah.
Gazzy, Nick, you happy with that? Steve Perriman's heart and desire. Gaz, you get first dibs on this one. The volleying.
Oh Christ.
Volleying. I'm trying to think who's.
Cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah, isn't it? If I do say so myself.
I keep wanting to say Ben Wallace, Cotto. Didn't he hit a couple of big volleys? Danny Rose.
Yeah.
Who loved the volley?
Yeah.
Who loved the volley?
Defoe.
Ginola loved
Yeah, Robbie Keane. Nick said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Derek's come through again. Hoddle loved the volley. Yeah. Those two goal kicks which he hit in, they're on the volley, weren't they? The header and the.
Well, what he could do with the ball just was godlike.
Well, let's face facts. The ultimate Spurs football is not going to be far off of Glenn Hoddle, is it?
No, exactly. Left foot Hoddle, right foot Hoddle. I don't know.
Is anyone better than Hoddle at any of these things? So who are we going for volleying? We'll go with Hoddle.
Yeah,
that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And back to Nick, first dibs on this one. Skills. The skills of.
Oh, who did we go? Who did we go volleying?
Hoddle.
Our dealers.
Any? I'll go Ginola again.
Gaza.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm not that good.
Lucy Dembele. Yeah, Gascoigne or Ginola. I would go Gascoigne from that one, I guess.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's only one here, isn't there? The passing of Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah.
Darren Anderson gets a mention as well. He was a good passer, wasn't he? Hoddle, we're agreed on Hoddle.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
The tackling of
Ledley King. Got to be, especially you see that tackle against Iron Robin. No question. For me,
I think in recent times, the nearest that will come to that is Vertonghen.
Yeah, Vertonghen loved to tackle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ben Thatcher. Ultimate player.
I was going to say, what kind of tackles? What kind of tackles?
The ultimate football player, the passing skills of Hoddle and the tackling skills of Ben Thatcher. We ran out of money.
Dave Mackay was upset, wasn't he, with his reputation as a tough midfielder because he was a ball player. He said his ball playing was good as well. Derek agrees with me. Graham Roberts, he loved the tough tackle, didn't he? Like putting Charlie Nicholas in the stands at Arsenal. The captaincy leadership skills of Dave Mackay.
Gary Mabbott.
Yeah.
Danny Blanchflower.
Or Donny
David
Blanchflower.
Kye,
Yeah.
Stevie Perriman again.
Yeah.
Stevie Perriman, the ultimate captain, isn't he, really?
Yeah.
The energy and work rate.
I'm going to go with Stefan Freund.
Arbeit! Do you know what that means in German?
Means
He used to
work.
shout it, didn't he? Work, yeah. Arbeit! Arbeit! Yep. Sonny,
Yeah. Sonny.
energy
Yep,
work
Son.
rate. Stevie Perriman again, good.
Lucas
Højbjerg.
Moura.
Props were mentioned there, yeah. Lamella.
Mora.
Lamella, yeah.
You wouldn't go too far
Yeah.
wrong if you were creating a perfect football and you had Lamella's energy and work rate, would you?
No,
No,
you
that's
need you need bastardry.
And
That would be the
shithousery.
word.
Shithousery, yeah.
Shithousery, yeah.
The
If
heading.
you had shithousery, then Lamella would just wipe the floor with all of them. You know, he was the shithouser.
Heading. The heading of.
What's this front or back though?
Could be either, couldn't it?
Defensive or offensive?
Could be either. Just a good, if we're building our ultimate FIFA player, the heading of Dawson. Dawson was good
I was thinking, yeah, he was good header, wasn't
Dawson was good in the air.
he? Yeah.
Richard Goff.
I remember
back before that.
Before my time.
Gary
Teddy
Mabbott.
Sheringham
Neil
against
Ruddock.
Leeds when we beat them 4-0 the year after they were champions. Little flick header.
Neil Ruddock.
I think
Yeah,
that was to make it
Teddy was.
4-0
I'd
as
say
well.
that's all go with Teddy was a great header of the ball. One of his little cushioned headers and powerful headers.
Yeah.
We'll go Teddy. And he
Deft headers.
Gilzine, of course. Derek. Yeah.
Gilly.
Gilzine loved the header, didn't he? Yeah. Fucking great header of the ball. We going for Gilzine or Sheringham?
Let's go old school. Let's go with Gilly.
Gilly. The speed and pace of who have you got? Lennon, Bale,
Walker.
Carl Walker, yeah.
Rose. Defoe, yeah.
I remember the
Jimmy
Inter Milan game in the Champions League when you had Walker, Rose, Lennon and Defoe belting forward. And I think Defoe got greedy and shot wide or something.
Yeah.
That was when we beat them 3-1.
DeAndre Yedlin.
And the Italian.
He was quite quick, wasn't he? That's all he was good at, wasn't he? He couldn't do anything with the ball, but he was a quick sprinter.
No.
I think if we're building our ultimate Tottenham
Funnily
FIFA player, I'd go for Gareth Bale's pace.
Funnily enough, here's one. Here's a surprise name that they actually did a test of running with the ball at their feet, and there was someone in the Spurs squad at the time that was faster than Aaron Lennon. Do you know who it was?
Eric Dyer.
David Bentley.
No.
Really?
He was. Yeah. With the ball at his feet.
When they used to do those teammates things, they always used to say that Eric Dyer was deceptively quick, didn't they?
He was quick in that first game at West Ham, but apart from that, he ain't not quick at, you know.
Tough one. The finishing off. Harry, Greavesy.
Defoe.
Greavesy.
Defoe, yeah. Teddy again. Props to Teddy.
Yeah.
Keno.
The question is: Are we talking about someone that is just basically that last tap of the ball into the goal?
The clinical finishing.
Because I mean, obviously Greavesy had that. Kane has that. Sheringham. It wasn't his finishing that was his strength. It was where he played the game in putting himself in the position to do it. So, but we've seen Kane score that goal against Arsenal. With the mask celebration one. That kind of finishing is on a different level. So yeah, it would be Kane or Greaves, I think.
Yeah, I think at the moment we've got to go with Greaves and me until Harry. Yeah. If he beats his record, Greaves gets the greatest English goal scorer of all time. We'll go for him. I don't think we get too many arguments there. No. Now this is a controversial one. The hair off.
Chris Waddle.
FIFA player. Oh yeah, we've got to have. Imagine that the FIFA player who's like the rival to Messi. Just Chris Waddle's mullet. Was it Ralph Coates or something that had a sweep over, didn't he?
Yeah.
One of the players that had a sweep over.
Yeah.
Ginola.
Yeah.
The hair of Ginola. If we were going cool, Ginola, but if we were going Kitchen.
Benoit Assacoto.
The old Disco Benny's afro.
Benoit Assacoto.
Yeah.
Dele Alli. Yeah. There it
Dele
is.
Alli, spiders on his head.
Him and Lewis Hamilton competing to be the biggest biggest plums in the world at the moment.
Yeah, there it's going for Dele.
Sense.
He also had some some daft things cut into his hair, and he Hoddle had some naughty barnets, but yeah, Chris Waddle or Ginola, I guess depends.
Chris Waddle or Ginola, yeah.
We're trying to be cool or kitsch. Our ultimate
Danny Murphy.
The beard of whose beard are we giving? Whose beard are we giving the guy? Ricky Villa's beard.
Yeah, he was the only one who had a beard in that squad. I know Archibald had a beard as well, didn't he? Steve Archibald had a beard.
I think Ardiles had a beard at one stage, didn't he? He had a beard. I suppose the 50s and 60s players, it wasn't the done thing to have a beard, was it, in those days? So they're all freshly shaven. So
you had to be shaven unless you were old. Beards were grown by older men. It was a cultural thing.
Who's had a proper beard? Like a proper.
Only Ricky comes to mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's actually had a proper full-on beard. Yeah.
Can't think of it.
Kane's got one now. Højbjerg's got one now.
Yeah, a bit stubble, but
it's that.
It's like Gaz. It's a bit, suave,
proper Gaza beard. He's had a.
No, Gaz is I think is a full beard. That's a full beard. That's not stubble like Kane or Højbjerg's is. It's not.
Not as well.
It's not done in terms of the fashion.
It's a proper beard. Well groomed as well. If we look at it, it's well groomed, well looked after beard.
Welcome to the Gaza beard show.
We have the beard of Gaza.
the cult of Gaza's beard.
Yeah, can we not have Gaza's beard instead of that's it? That'll be the ultimate FIFA player with our Gaza's beard on.
Are we going for Gaza or are we going for Ricky Villa?
I'm going for Gaza.
I'm going for Gaza's beard.
I'm going for Gaza. So our FIFA player's got Gaza's beard.
Definitely. Yeah.
And on that note, it's a good way to end, isn't it? No game. England play Sunday, do they? Saturday, Sunday?
Sunday and Wednesday,
Friday.
I think.
To be honest, I think international football is the only place where you're actually going to get a level-ish playing field nowadays. You could be we'd probably take more interest in that as thing. Funnily enough, I lost interest in international football because I thought it was boring, but at least it's relatively competitive still.
Sorry, Saturday and Tuesday we play.
Oh, there we go. Saturday and Tuesday.
Andorra, is that one of them?
Andorra away, which is the first game with all female officials.
It's not, is it?
Yes, correct.
And Hungary at home.
First men's senior game.
And then Hungary at home on Tuesday, and then 4 weeks later there's another international break.
Yeah.
We're at home to Albania and away to San Marino, which is definitely going to get people excited.
Although that doesn't really help me because I'm boycotting this World Cup anyway, so I'm not watching the qualifiers. So I guess it'll just be
And that's it then. After that, there's no games then because that's the end of the qualifiers for the World Cup.
There'll be friendlies after that, won't there? Isn't there a break usually in February or something?
Yeah, they'll probably
usually
in between FA Cup or after the FA Cup third round.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so I think it'll probably just be friendlies, won't it? It wouldn't be qualifiers.
No, but then I'm guessing that they'll have to start the qualifiers for then the Euros because it would have come.
Wow. Yeah, that would be 2024. Did they start them that early?
I don't know. I'm
trying to sat around in his mother's basement thinking up these weird questions to get us.
That's a good point, yeah.
Blowing our minds.
Yeah.
Just trying to get you all. Well, actually saying that it's African Nations Cup, isn't it? Because then Liverpool have players in January. So
it's a good job. It's a good job Mo Salah's not from Africa.
From Africa, yeah.
He won't have to go.
Scouse
not English. Scouse not English.
Yeah.
Scouse not English.
The entire nation of Egypt apparently isn't either. God, there's such density out there.
I'm going there around in about
Liverpool or Egypt.
Liverpool. No, I've been
I
to
was going to say.
Egypt. What are you
No,
going up there for?
I've got a wedding at the beginning of November. So
Awesome.
yeah, so I don't know. I'm up there for 2 days. So it's
Who are you
Where, in
marrying?
Egypt?
to Egypt. No, I'm not marrying anyone yet. That's next September. So
We haven't
yeah.
had the stag do yet.
No, I know.
Gaza can hardly wait for the pizza and cheesecake.
Mate,
Bring on the pizza and cheesecake.
LJ, apparently this is gonna be a high class stag do, if you can, imagine.
So pizza flavored cheesecake.
I won't,
Yes.
I won't make the cut, Nick, if that's the case.
Well, no, LJ, you need a passport, I think, so that rules you out straight away.
Brexit. I don't think any of you be going anywhere at the moment, will you?
Oh, well. But yeah,
No,
I don't know.
don't worry, we're
what the
looking
plan
into
is,
it.
So. And on that note, come on, you Spurs, and we'll be back. So when do we next play? So, man, it's
17th.
Newcastle. So,
Week on Sunday.
are we having a show next week or not? Are we doing a Newcastle preview? Or we'll see how Jens and Kev are. We should probably tell the people watching that Jens and Kev are both poorly this week. They're not very well. So we haven't asked them from
trying
the
to
show.
avoid each other in the quiz, I think. I don't think they had an accident.
Yeah, we said that. They're both trying to avoid each other because they're scared of their. It's like Tyson Fury and AJ. They're trying to protect their unbeaten records at the moment.
To be honest, I was terrified
don't
that
wanna
you'd be
face each other.
dragooning me into doing the quiz. This week, it was like, no,
you have to carry on beating up bums on the internet. Protect your 37-0 record as well before so you have to face Jens or Kev. I can see
I've no doubt there'll be some Spurs news in the week, so we'll probably end up doing one, and we can do the quiz as well, and the preview.
Yeah, so hope Jens is feeling better for next week, so we can do the quiz, and Kev best recuperation for his injury. So
Get well soon, fellas.
Get well soon, guys. Both
Get well
of you.
soon,
Hope
guys,
you're watching,
and come on, you Spurs. Hopefully, England will have to cheer you up, or Denmark in Jens's case. We'll see you next week, guys.
Are Ireland playing?
I guess
Kev might be more interested in Ireland.
I'm sure they won't cheer Kev up.
Yeah.
It's down to Doherty, isn't it? It's down to Matt Doherty to cheer up Kev. So he could stay in the can.
So no Kev next week because he wouldn't have recovered yet.
Azerbaijan, Ireland are playing, and then they're playing Qatar. So famous,
real big footballing powerhouses.
Yeah. Not good. So we'll see you next week then, guys, and come on, you Spurs.
Come.